Hello, everybody. We're back from our break, and boy, did we miss you. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sogcast. I'm Patrick.
I'm Matt.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm Owen.
The Mariners are a game over 500. It's a nice start. We had a nice little break. We had a bunch of stuff to do, so we took our own all-star break. We got a little bit of recapping to do for you guys. First off, let's touch on the all-star weekend. I was there for all of it. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I was there for the home run derby, and it was pretty cool. I mean, I couldn't miss the whole thing. I had to go to one thing, and I chose the home run derby.
That was probably the best one to go to, honestly. Although I'll say, out of all the events, the most fun I had was the celebrity softball game. That was so cool, seeing all the former Mariners and stuff. Mike Cameron, Felix Hernandez, Brett Boone. He looks like Droopy Dog. That cartoon character, you know? He looks so much like him. It's crazy.
Good call.
Yeah, the celebrity softball game looked like a good time.
It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that a lot. The home run derby was really cool. Honestly, Adley Rutschman stole the show.
Oh, my God.
For any of you guys that didn't see the home run derby, Adley Rutschman is a switch hitter, and he started the home run derby left-handed, and at the end of his round, during his bonus time, he switched to right-handed, so he's hit from both sides of the plate.
He mashed right-handed.
Oh, my God, it was so cool. The crowd exploded. It was so electric.
Yeah, everyone stood up. The place went crazy. He put, 4 or 5 out in a row. It was nuts, man. He ended up with 27 or 28 home runs
Not
in the
enough.
round. And he was up against Luis Robert. And after his performance and everyone was going nuts, Luis Robert comes up and hits one more home run than he did. He went crazy. Luis Robert almost hit one over the left field bleachers, to the top 2 rows up there. And he put one off the batter's eye, deepest center field you can go, right next to the whole platform out there where the DJ was. It hit the bottom part of the batter's eye, deepest center field you can go, and it was one of the deepest homers I've seen there.
I want to see someone take it out of.
Never been done.
Judge got really close.
Judge got close once, and
ago.
Zunino got close once. It's the closest.
Vogelbach hit one pretty damn far.
Yeah, he's a lefty, and he put one into the third deck. It's hard to hit it out that way.
And hometown hero Julio Rodriguez with 41 home runs in the first round set a record.
That was wild.
To beat Vladdy's daddy.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody was going crazy in there. It was the loudest I've ever heard that place. The Julio chant was insane. Everyone was on their feet for the entire round, which was the only time that happened. And he rose to the occasion and put up 41.
And then got a little tuckered out in the second round. But what are you going to do? It was still electric. It was a lot of fun.
And he put out Pete Alonso again, which is kind of cool.
One thing I kind of had a problem with, I didn't like that the stadium was booing Pete Alonso. I guess there's two sides to it. One, he was going against Julio. And two, he would tie Griffey's record for the only player to have 3 home run derby titles. But still, I didn't think he needed to be booed. He's not a bad guy or anything. I kind of didn't like that from the stadium. I thought that was a little weird.
Yeah, I didn't want anyone to boo. I mean, I was like, dude, this is an exhibition, a show. This is a different thing. I know that no one wants Griffey to be beat. He's the guy with 3 home run derby titles, and Pete Alonso is the guy hunting for that. And I mean, I didn't boo him. I was kind of like, man, what? I want to see him hit bombs. I mean, Julio crushed, and Pete had no chance, but I wanted him to hit some bombs and have fun during that. And Vlad was getting booed too. Man, I like Vladimir Guerrero a lot. I know the Blue Jays are kind of a touchy subject for Mariners, I guess, lately, but I've liked the Blue Jays since before the Mariners were good. I watched the Blue Jays grow into what they are now, and I respect them, man.
I didn't think Vlad had the stamina to do it. I really thought Randy was going to take the thing home, but dude, Vlad persevered. That guy has a lot more in him than I thought. It was really impressive.
Yeah, it was a really fun time. It was a fun event. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I will say the All-Star game, little underwhelming. Not even just because the game was. It was a good game by baseball standards, but I just felt like the fanfare at the stadium was kind of lacking, and I was thoroughly disappointed. I thought Cal Ripken Jr. would come out and like get a big ovation, and there was like no fanfare. It was shockingly weird. You would expect Seattle stars to come through. Like, I even thought like Macklemore would make an appearance just because it's Seattle and Macklemore is always a part of that. Whether you think he's dope or not, he is part of that stuff, and he wasn't there. It was very.
I thought he was there. Didn't he do some kind of hosting on the TV side of things?
If it was, I mean, I didn't see it. I didn't see it like stadium wise.
I think he was around.
No.
He should have been. Yeah, he could have been around. I think he was too. Like, what about Sir Mix-a-Lot or someone like that?
Like
you know,
just bring out Sue Bird and
Yeah, dude.
stuff like that. So. Kind of Seattle legends that I was just a little disappointing. I was a little underwhelmed by the All-Star game as a whole. And the National League won for the first time in like 10 years. So that was kind of a bummer too. George Kirby gave up, I think, the game winning run. It wasn't like a walk-off or anything, but it was like in the fifth. And he gave up the run that I think was eventually the game winner.
yeah, I mean, that's all right. It's just the All-Star game. I always want the AL to win the All-Star game, and they've been on a streak, and it's unusual, I think. Like, do you really think the American League has that much more talent than the National League on a regular basis?
I think
Nah.
so.
I mean, it's just like, it's an exhibition game for fun. It's not for anything anymore, and like, they go out, not to say they don't go out there and just dog it. They definitely want to go hit homers and get the strikeouts and everything. Like, they play the game, which is nice. A lot of sports really don't play the game to its full capacity. When in baseball, they're going out and throwing their best fastball. They want to put it on display.
Yeah. I mean, football has now legitimately turned into flag football for the Pro Bowl. And basketball, the final score in the basketball All-Star game is like 275 to like 310. Like, there's no defense. And it's literally just like a glorified dunk competition,
It's
which is
funny.
like kind of fun. But like, it's not, it gets a little tiresome. So baseball definitely has the coolest All-Star game.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a good game overall. Just felt it was kind of lacking from the stadium standpoint.
Yeah, even though there was not a whole lot of fanfare and, it didn't feel super spirited, I guess, or like the right time, the right place for a player to come out and have their time in the spotlight, or I don't know. I didn't feel any of that either. It was kind of more based around how it looks on TV, in my opinion. Like they
Yeah.
have
The
players
All-Star game,
mic'd up.
From what I can tell, is better on TV.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's just a game.
It's cool to be at the All-Star game, and, it only happens once every so often in your city. 79, 2001, 2023 for Seattle. So what's the next time it's going to be here? 20 more years? Who knows?
You guys can tell me because you were there, but I think the home run derby, I don't know about the TV side of it. Because, by the time the ball lands, there's another ball already hit, and it's really hard to watch kind of like the split screen of the guy swinging the bat and then watching where the ball goes. It's a little awkward.
No, 100%. And that's an excellent point. And that's why a lot of people have been talking about kind of reverting to the old rules. Because the old rules of the home run derby was 10 outs. You hit a ball and it's a home run and you get a point for that. Or it's not a home run and it's an out. You can take pitches and that won't count against you. But if you make contact with the ball and it's not a home run, it's an out. You get 10 outs, your round is done. They changed the rules, a handful of years ago. But I think it's time maybe to revert back or maybe do a hybrid of what they have now and the previous rules.
Did they ever have a rule that you got to wait for the ball to land before you can hit another one?
Technically, that's the rule now. Just no one follows
It's
it.
gone by the
really?
wayside.
That is the rule. It's supposed to be you are not allowed to hit another ball until that ball has landed, and no one has ever followed it, and no one it's
Yeah,
but it is the rule.
It's not
Okay.
enforced. It's just something that everyone's just like, okay, we have this much time. We want to hit as many as possible. And they do get tired. Like, they're literally swinging and, like, being ready for the next pitch immediately. So they wear out fast, you know? They're breaking that rule purposely, and it just, it goes.
Yeah,
like,
whatever. It
wear
doesn't
yourself
matter.
out if you want.
All right.
Julio hit 41. Definitely 2 balls were in the air at all times.
Yeah.
It was fun though. I mean, I like it, but there should be a little bit more of a glorification of the flight of the ball and let everyone see it, because even at the stadium, they're overlapping and you're like, oh, I'm watching that one in the air, and then there's another pitch and you're trying to figure out where he's hitting that one too and whether that one's out, but you want to see the majestic flight of the ball.
I want to see fans catch the ball.
Yo, I saw a kid on a highlight get plunked in the head in left field.
Yeah, by Vladdy. He got domed up.
Dude, heads
Yeah.
up. You're in left field. What are you doing?
Well, there's like 15, 30, 40 kids in there, like just like running around like with chickens with their heads cut off. They don't know what the fuck's going on.
Eye on the ball, kid.
Most of those kids out there kind of knew what was going on, but yeah, occasionally one of those kids gonna get plunked.
He just lost in the kerfuffle, bro. If there was
The
like
curveball.
if there was like 35 outfielders, I'd be confused too.
You're right, dude. When like Adley Rutschman switched around, everyone had to run to
Oh
the
my
other
God,
field.
that was so
That was funny. Anyway, I mean, the All-Star experience is fun. I'm glad that it was in Seattle and that people were into it. Everyone was there having a good time, even though there wasn't as much fanfare as we'd like. My favorite thing to see was all of the mascots hanging out in the concourse right behind home plate before the home run derby. I was standing around watching them hit BP, which was really cool too. But all the mascots were around, and I saw Wally the Green Monster and all the Phillies, the Philly fanatic. Yeah, man, and like Mr. and Mrs. Met were there. It was cool, man. Just there was a bunch of people taking pictures. I just stood there and took it all in. It was a really good time to just. That wasn't what I was expecting, you know. I just walked up on it, and it was cool.
Yeah, and all in all, fun. Can't wait to do it again in another 20, 25 years.
We'll be there.
Yeah.
We'll buy you a beer.
Now more Mariner news, kind of breaking, a couple days old now, but breaking news, breaking foot, Kelenic kicked a cooler, broke his foot, 10-day IL. Who knows how long he'll actually be out for. That shit sucks. I don't.
Yeah,
Super bummer.
that sucks. Kelenic seemed to have turned a corner for the Mariners, right? Like, we watched him this year come up and look more mature as a young man. He's battling. He's trying to make adjustments and show that he's a valuable player in the league. There's no options left for him, and he had to perform. He came out hot at the beginning of the season. We know what he's capable of, and he knows what he's capable of. We've been talking about his emotions getting the best of him and how well he's been tempering that this year.
That at bat wasn't even bad. I get his frustration, but going against Duran, who also threw the fastest pitch in the last 5 years in baseball, he hit 105 miles per hour.
So nutty.
And Kelenic had a 9-pitch at bat, and he fouled off multiple 104 mile per hour pitches. And Duran is not a pitcher that just wings it and hopes for the best. This is 104 at the corners. I mean, he is locating. He is dominant. He's an amazing young pitcher. I really enjoy watching him. And Kelenic put on a hell of a battle and got caught looking on a backdoor curveball, I believe it was. I don't think it was a slider. I think it was a curve. And got rung up. And, you know, from our perspective, it's really easy to be like, what an amazing at-bat. You know, that was so impressive to watch. But for someone like Kelenic, who especially is like so used to winning, you know, throughout life and then coming into the major leagues and having this adjustment period, he didn't take it easily, and he lost his temper, and now he's out of the lineup for at minimum 2 weeks, and who knows, it could be longer. We'll see how it heals.
Yeah, it's definitely lame that he broke his foot kicking a cooler. Like, in the grand scheme of things, like, he didn't break anything. Like, Patrick, you were saying Chris Sale had, like, a really poor outing a couple of years ago and on a rehab stint and bashed up a whole bunch of TVs or some shit.
Yeah, he destroyed the AAA clubhouse because he was all salty. I hate Chris Sale.
Also, I really like, Gary, I know you say he has, like, attitude issues or whatever. I find it kind of refreshing that he's showing emotion. I feel like, we can argue this point, I just feel like the only emotion we see on the Mariners right now is, like, yeah, we win. And then when we lose, it's just, like, it's just like zombies. Like, I see Julio smile. I don't see him get frustrated. I don't see him get angry. I don't see anybody do anything. France always looks the fucking same, win or lose. He just looks hella high. He's just chilling. Like, he doesn't even know where the fuck he is. Kelenic, it sucked up. That's what the end result of him getting frustrated and showing emotion. But it's like, oh, there's like, it's not just people like on SSRIs on the field. That's what I said.
Hey, man.
Sorry.
Oh, I do agree actually with you, Owen, about showing that fire, and I guess it would have been easier for him to just like punt his helmet or something. Break the bat over the knee, do the old Bo Jackson,
That's
But
cool too.
That's really cool. I love
Eugenio does it. He's done it a few times.
I love when players break the bat over their knee.
It's cool as fuck. Yeah, I mean, Kelenic kicking a cooler and breaking his foot is what we would have expected from him originally, which sucks because of the strides he's made this year and how we want him now. We need, now that we don't have him for, I mean, at least 2 weeks. If he broke his foot, it's 4 to 6 weeks. You have to be on your feet all the time. So I think it's going to be a couple months, man. But either way, we really feel his value now that he's not here and how everything has changed for us and him. And we need him. We want him. And he is crying in the dugout. It's genuine. He knows he let the team down. He knows that he's a big part of this team. He's a big left-handed bat in our lineup that's actually a scary batter, Patrick. You just broke down that at bat with Duran. Like, I was on the edge of my seat, dude. Like, that for real, you're performing at the highest level that you can. How do you compete with something like that? By being elite, by being locked in. And that's something we've kind of criticized him for, is being too locked in, right? And Owen, you're saying like Julio, like, yeah, we see him smile and he's a character. He has Julio's cereal. Like, he's a instant star in the league because of his charismatic style. He does commercials. Jared Kelenic is locked in about baseball because he has his back against the wall, and like we need him so bad, and like it really sucks to lose him this way.
He has his back against the wall and now his foot in a boot.
Yeah.
But the fire was good, and it's something we do need to see more from this team, and it's something we've criticized the team as a whole before, of just not having that passion and just being, it seems like they're okay to lose, and I hate that because like it's frustrating to us as fans. A bad loss can ruin my night, and I'm just like, what the hell? And so for a player to show that they care and to put that out there, and now it ended up being too costly. It sucks, but
I think the players show that they care. You can hear J.P. Crawford yell "fuck" at the top of his lungs every day on TV if he strikes out.
Murphy did it today too.
Murph does it. Like, they all do it. I mean, just kicking shit and breaking yourself is not the healthiest way to...
Well, I don't think he meant to break his foot.
He clearly didn't. But I mean, I was 20 years old once, and I was drunk, and I punched a door, and I broke my hand, and I was in music classes at the time. You know how embarrassing that is? I'm sure he feels like an idiot. I felt like an idiot when I do
on
it.
TV, like,
you know what I
live
learned
TV.
from it? Okay, there's no crying in baseball. You know what I learned from it?
Plenty of crying.
Don't fucking punch doors, you dickhead.
Well, I'm sure he will
I think
not
he
be
learned
kicking-
it.
All I
don't
told
think
myself,
he'll
and
be
that's what
kicking
he's
another
going through
cooler.
right now. He's doing the same thing. He knows he fucked up. He feels like an idiot for it. So there's no point in harping on it or anything. It's clear as day. But at the same time, like, lesson learned, hopefully.
Right.
I love that he owns it. That he cries openly and genuinely in the dugout during an interview and says that he doesn't blame anybody else. Everything that he says is like, it's me. I did this. I fucked up. I let the team down. It sucks doubly. And he's like, it's genuine, but don't kick coolers. Don't break yourself, dude. Like, know your value. And yeah, this is the lesson he has to learn right here. And we'll see how long it takes him to come back. And I mean, it just sucks on all ends because I want to tell him to like suck it, like, man, fuck you. Why'd you do that? But at the same time, I guess I understand, and it kind of moves the needle on where the Mariners are too, which sucks a lot. Where we are in the season, it's such a pivotal time in the season.
And that's a big thing. Now the trade deadline is right around the corner. Dipoto has recently made comments of more or less saying, well, it's not our year this year. Let's try again next year, which did not sit well with me. And so now we are down another outfielder. There's a chance that the Phillies are sellers. They are not performing well this year. Bryce Harper is a corner outfielder who is left-handed. If they're looking to trade, he's only 30 years old. He's batting .295 this year. His power numbers are down. He's been dealing with Tommy John, so I don't know how much outfield work he would get. He did make a debut at first base tonight on Friday for the Phillies. So, hell, a platoon first baseman, left-handed bat, potentially corner outfielder. I wouldn't mind seeing a push for Bryce Harper if it's out there.
I'd be okay with it too.
As much as I like Bryce Harper, I don't think this is necessarily the time for the Mariners to jump on a giant star player like that. And Patrick, I mean, I don't know if you realize what's going on in the National League here, because the Phillies are 52-45, 7 games over 500. They're not going to take the East from the Braves, but I mean, they're competing with Miami right there. They're basically tied, and they're in the wild card race. I mean, they're in the third wild card spot right now. They've lost 3 in a row, but so have Arizona and San Francisco. They've lost a couple too. They're right in the mix, is what I'm saying. They're tied with a couple teams for that third spot. And Bryce Harper is a guy who's very valuable, even though his contract might be up soon. I think he's a guy that, even though there's rumors, I don't know. I don't think the Mariners would be interested in that kind of thing. Dipoto was saying that they're going to work on the edges, and that like, I guess I have a question. Why is this a waiting game here up to the deadline instead of adding early and pushing for wins before the deadline? Why don't we make those moves on the margins now and see if it helps our team, and then try to land a big player at the end, like when we're already winning? Because we have 3 absolute zeros on our bench right now. Colton Wong, AJ Pollock, and Dylan Moore are doing nothing.
Yep.
So, and now that Kelenic's out, it just looks like we're going to be sellers, which we can sell Teoscar. His contract's up at the end of the season. Seawald's contract goes through next year, I think. But Seawald's a big piece that a winning team, an actual playoff contending team, could use. Tom Murphy's contract is up at the end of the year, and he's hitting the ball so well, and he works well with any pitching staff. So we have guys we can easily sell.
I'm tired of this moving the fucking goalpost back. I mean,
Me too.
Dipoto originally said from the get-go, when we started our rebuild a couple years ago, he said 2023 was going to be the year that we compete and really push for the playoff spot. And then with the COVID shortened season, he's like, okay, it might move it back a little bit. Then in 2022, the Mariners surprised everyone, made a push, made the playoffs, ended the drought. So that was actually ahead of schedule. And Dipoto, instead of jumping on that, has now decided to move the goalpost back again. How the fuck can you say, oh, our AAA guys aren't ready to come up. They're not going to make a change. I don't think we're really looking to add any big pieces. Him saying that is him throwing away this fucking season. And I'm pissed about it. Because why? How many times are you going to move the goalpost back just to is that job security for him that he thinks oh, if I just keep pushing the deadline back, they're going to keep me because I'm going to make it eventually. I'm pissed. When Dipoto said that on the Jerry Dipoto show, I lost my shit. I am so frustrated about that. Stop moving the goalpost. Win now. Win. Make the effort. We have tradable pieces. It's going to suck to see some players go, but you got to spend money to make money. And right now he's just not doing shit. And he's okay with admitting that. I'm frustrated.
He's willing to admit that he built a roster that's not deep enough. We ended up with guys like Tommy LaStella and Cole Calhoun and guys that weren't going to be anything. The biggest free agent contract he signed other than Robbie Ray is AJ Pollock for $7 million or something like that. He's not a free agent guy. He's kind of a one-trick pony where he comes in, builds up a bunch of prospects and graduates them, but doesn't know how to go for the win, go for the throat, He gets you to a threshold place. And since 2016, that's when John Stanton bought 90% of the Mariners, the John Stanton group. He has 17 other owners in his ownership group too. It's not like they're lacking in funds. It's not like they can't go out and buy that.
Right now I'm lacking in fun.
Yeah, the fun differential is fucked. I mean, it sucks to hear Dipoto just come out and kind of be content with where we are. Not content, but oh yeah, well, it's not going the way we want, so I guess we'll just not spend now, look at next year, and then mentions immediately that we signed the big fish last year, Luis Castillo, so just to tack a little gold star on himself while saying we're not going to do shit, we're going to work in the margins and try to do nothing, and when we should have DFA'd fucking Wong and Pollock weeks ago and been in the trade market aggressively looking for any replacement level player to replace those guys. Cade Marlowe came up and looks better than AJ Pollock did this whole entire year in 2 games. He doesn't even have a hit yet, but fuck yeah, bring that guy. Let's go. Let's at least get Taylor Trammell back up here. Something, anything, any replacement level player.
Yeah, his ambivalence to we could win, maybe we'll look at the prospects a week after the All-Star break is infuriating. It's just give a shit about winning, bro. It's just frustrating that it seems I'm looking to 2024, 2025 is when we make the big push. And it's just last year, we made it to the playoffs, we broke the drought, and we kept the bulk of the roster from what I remember.
Yeah.
Good. It's just why? It's just I just don't understand. And it's just, I feel like his goals and thoughts and feelings about this season do not align with any Mariners fan.
Yeah.
And that's annoying.
And, I think he just always has an excuse ready. So, Robbie Ray is hurt. Marco Gonzalez is hurt. And, those are reasonable issues that the team ran into this year. But it's not like our pitching staff has been decimated without Marco and without Robbie Ray.
That's the one thing we can always do.
Yeah, we have great pitching. Bryce Miller has been phenomenal. Wu has been great. He's had a couple clunky starts in there, but he's a rookie. What do you expect? He's been great more often than not. So these excuses and it's just one thing after the other, and I'm tired of hearing it. I want to see wins in the fucking win column. That's all I want to see. And it's not happening. and for Dipoto to just come limp dick in hand being like, oh, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Fuck you.
He's so lucky. He's so lucky Jose Caballero was a stud this year. Like, honestly, if we didn't have him, it'd be Colton Wong, Sam Haggerty. Like Jose Caballero has filled such a huge gap. I appreciate how much he's come out of absolutely nowhere, off of nobody's radar. Just, it's like, okay, yeah, he's a major leaguer now. Sick. Like, that's super helpful for us.
Also, real quick, sorry, Grandma, about all the F-bombs. I'm really frustrated.
Yeah,
sorry,
well,
Grandma.
Yeah, all the grandmas out there, I'm sorry too. I can't help it.
It's like super funny that Cabs, when you're comparing to Wong, he's just like, oh my God, this is like the golden goose. He's so good. And it's like, oh, Cabs is hitting like 230. But then you compare that to Wong and you're like, oh yeah, Wong is shit. Dog water.
I will say, though, Cabs, yeah, his average is lower than we'd like it to be, but he is so electric on the base pass,
efficient.
In the field, messing with pitchers. He's really fun to watch, and you can tell the potential's there. For a rookie, I mean, he's hitting fine, but I think there's so many different aspects of his game that this dude can be a serious threat in years to come.
Yeah, I've said it before. He just has a high baseball IQ. He has good energy. He knows how to mess with other players' timing and mindset. He's just very in tune with the game and knows what's happening at all moments. Tonight against the Blue Jays, didn't he make a great play going like towards the line and got the lead runner at second base? Like a kind of a weird misdirection play in baseball.
Yeah, he made an amazing play today in the Blue Jays game. Runner on first, ball hit to his left side, so towards the first base foul line. And any other fielder in that situation, and honestly, the smart play would probably be to field that and throw it to first, at least get the sure out. And running away from second base, backhand, jump, turn, laser throw to just barely beat the lead runner. It was a hell of a play and something Colton Wong's not making. He's not making that kind of play. And Cabs also had an electric play on the base pass. A swinging bunt, again, down the first base line. He's hustling down. Pitcher fields it, tries to tag him. He jumps out of the way of the tag, like sticks his ass out, and the glove like swishes and misses his stomach, and then dives headfirst into first base and beat it out for a hit. It was crazy. And those are the types of electric plays that like you really want to see in a young player. And honestly, we're not seeing those kind of plays from anyone else right now. Julio isn't doing it this year. And again, sophomore slump, we give him a little bit more of a longer leash. But for electrifying plays, I say Cabs and JP are the most exciting players on that diamond right now.
Yeah, Julio does have a long leash. I mean, he signed like a 15-year contract here now, so we have to be patient with him. We've kind of been forced into a corner that way, and we are trying our best not to kind of tear him apart because he's not performing up to standards. He's sending a ton of ground balls straight to the shortstop, third baseman. He's pulling ground balls all day, and pitchers know how to pitch him. And
just throw him sliders, bro.
He's not making the adjustment. That's something that is hard to swallow because he should be performing at a rate that we expected him to be performing at a rate that's, raking in the runs, hitting some homers, putting the ball in the air. But his ground ball rate's got to be huge right now, which is not good. He's striking out a lot. He's not patient. He wants to be an aggressive hitter, but he should just be more patient because the more aggressive he is, the more he hits it straight into the ground. And he's hit into more double plays this year than he did last year already.
And think about how many times JP has set Julio up to be the star of the game. JP has had so many clutch at bats when he was in the 9 slot and Julio was batting first, or now that JP is leading off and Julio's batting second. There's so many times, 2 outs, JP personally puts Julio in a situation to succeed, and he just hasn't. He hasn't all year, and I've kind of wanted to look up how many times Julio has been Julio has been up to bat with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, and he can't do a damn thing. He did work a nice walk today that ended up leading to the game-winning run. That was a great at bat from him, and again, kind of a more veteran at bat that we've seen, someone who's shaken off the rookie rust. But still, just if you can nitpick one at bat where he did something phenomenal and the rest of the time you're just kind of shaking your head, that's not good.
Did find out he has a 48% ground ball rate this year.
48%? That's huge. That's not good.
It looks like it's been around that for a couple years now.
So it's a coin flip whether it's a ground ball or
42%, 49%, 44, 54, 46.
when he puts
48.
it in the air, it's a missile. But when he's on the ground, it's kind of it's not productive because pitchers will take advantage of his style and he's not making an adjustment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 19% line drives. Dude, I don't know.
That's not great.
14.3% home runs, fly balls.
He's young and is maturing. He's doing a ton of commercials. He's all over the place in the media, you know what I mean? And I think there's a lot of distractions for him that he kind of needs to be more like Kelenic, where last year we were Kelenic needs to be more like Julio and loosen up. And now it's Julio needs to be more like Kelenic and buckle down. It's kind of a weird situation we're in over here.
That is an excellent point. I agree with that 100%. And also, I think it ties in, again, to not having that veteran leadership on the team. There needs to be someone reeling Julio in. Imagine the pressure this kid is under. He is 22 years old. He is the face of Seattle baseball. That, and a lot coming with that, besides just his play on the field, the endorsements, the commercials, the media, this, that, and the other. I can't imagine the amount of pressure this 22-year-old kid is under. It's a lot, and he knows he's not performing well. We need veterans in the locker room helping these guys out. Someone to calm Kelenic down before he puts his foot through a cooler. Someone to tell Julio to take a deep breath when he comes up to bat in these big situations. There's just not the veteran presence. And this is kind of a side topic that I've been thinking about. And again, this is just pure speculation. There's no facts based around this at all. Just something that I've thought of. And I kind of want to know your ideas on this. Ken Griffey Jr. is now a part of the team, and he's around a lot. Shouldn't he be taking Julio underneath his wing and really walking him through the steps of being a star young center fielder for the Seattle Mariners? And I'm going to preface this. I don't know if this is true. Do not want to say anything negative about Ken Griffey Jr. He's obviously a Seattle legend. We love him with all our hearts. He's amazing. Is it at all possible that Griffey doesn't necessarily want to pass that torch? Do you get what I'm saying? Of just these baseball players, they have egos. It's not a secret. When you become a professional athlete, you have an ego that comes with it, and that's how you get so great. Is it at all possible that Griffey isn't being as helpful as maybe he could be? Again, just a speculation from my thought process. Feel free to disagree if you want. Just something I've kind of mulled over.
Yeah, you're full of all kinds of kooky conspiracies, man. I don't see it at all. A first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a cool guy.
And he's great. And, we don't know. Maybe it does happen behind the scenes. We don't know what happens when the locker room doors close. We have no idea. But you would think that if that kind of mentorship was happening, you would probably see it somewhere on social media. You'd see it, get it posted somewhere. Not saying it doesn't happen, but I'm saying we haven't seen that it is happening.
So Ken Griffey Jr., obviously the coolest. You said he's a pretty cool guy. No, he's the coolest.
He
fucking
is the
guy.
coolest guy.
I don't want to compare him to like Barry Bonds, but Barry Bonds like can't really be a coach because he's on another planet, like hitting wise, and like players, like young players, he can't teach young players how to hit because it just doesn't compute. I don't know. Ken Griffey Jr. doesn't seem like the guy that's like. He's not a coach. He's part of the ownership group now.
Right.
He carries a camera around.
Like I'm sure he's around. Yeah, he's around, right?
He takes pictures of stuff.
Cool, yeah. I think he's just like a Mariners legend in general. He's not necessarily like a coach. Like Ichiro is kind of a like involved in the Mariners system, right? He can kind of like, and I've seen that Ichiro and Julio hang out, and like he's trying to coach him up a little bit, trying to tell him things. Like Trevor Plouffe, I think, posted. The Twins were just in town, and Plouffe was in town too. And he just posted up that like Julio and Ichiro were on the field early doing work together and talking and trying to figure things out. So I think that's a good vibe where like at least Ichiro is trying to take Julio under his wing a little bit. And that's one step in the right direction, in my opinion, even though it's not Griffey, the other legendary center fielder in Seattle. At least Ichiro is there to try to bridge that gap a little bit. Julio's 22?
Yep.
Like, he has a lot of growing to do. Look at where like Juan Soto is at right now. There's a lot of young players that are, and Fernando Tatis Jr. Like, there's a lot of young players trying to figure out what to do with their electric personalities and how to be a star, how to be stable in this league, because it's so volatile for hitters like them, where it's they can make a huge impact, but they're also really susceptible to psychological issues, being young and going through the motions for the first time.
I don't know. Maybe Griffey and Ichiro are offering that mentorship, and Julio's just like, "Fuck you."
That's equally
You think so?
unlikely.
Well, I don't know. Like,
think so?
They all have ego. No, I don't know. It's a conspiracy theory. They all have egos, right? Like, Julio is literally the face of Seattle. Like, he's got the fattest contract. I mean, he killed it last year. He's just like, I don't need no help.
I think he kind of knows where he's at, man. I think he knows that he needs mentorship. He seems receptive to it. You know what I mean? I don't think he's that guy.
What I think seems more likely is that they're going to let him figure it out on his own. And like the type of advice he gets from someone like Griffey is like, hey man, just keep doing what you do. And just rolls with that,
Griffey was the coolest. He was himself. He did what he did and acted the way he was.
Got people telling him like, you're going to be fine, man. And he's like, okay, just take that in.
That is a good point. I definitely see where you're coming from with that. But another thing that I kind of think backs up my point marginally, and again, just the thought process of some random Mariners fan. But like how Matt just said, Ichiro is out there in the field with Julio early.
You can physically see him interacting with players.
Yeah. And, you don't see that with Griffey, really. And
maybe it's because Griffey's fat.
Falling asleep in clubhouses and shit.
Still cute as a button, though.
He is.
Best smile in all of baseball. What a handsome fella. And I love his shoes. And yeah, so there's nothing to take to heart. It's not like, oh, we've heard whispers behind the scenes that this is what's happening.
Those whispers would be dope, though. If we heard the whispers of like Ken Griffey Jr.'s taking Julio under his wing. They hang out every weekend. Like, he goes on road trips with them now. Like,
they golf together.
Those whispers would be actually dope. And yes, it kind of sucks that we haven't heard those kind of whispers.
See, Matt's coming around slightly. I mean, I still could be 100% wrong.
Don't join him on this.
We're speculating.
We're speculating.
It's not conspiracy or whatever.
It's just speculation.
We're thinking about things that could improve our young stars' mental game and unlock his talent. You know, like Mike Tyson had a coach that unlocked his talent.
Disclaimer: we don't know shit. Don't listen to us.
Let's find a guy that can unlock Julio's talent and make him go just absolutely crazy on this league for the last couple months of the season. I don't know. Something's got to be unlocked because he has incredible talent. We've seen how good he can be and what kind of impact he can be on a team. And if he gets going, the whole team gets going. I guarantee it.
I believe it. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Patrick, do you have thoughts about Scott Service's decision-making as of late?
Wow, I'm glad you asked, Garrett. Yes, I do.
Do you now?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Good thought. Matt, anything to add?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Okay, I see where you're coming from. Owen, you got anything on this topic?
Bad.
Cool. All right, now that's out of the way.
No, but on a more serious note, I do not like the position Service has been putting these young AA pitchers getting freshly called up. During the Twins game, we were down by 1 run in the 8th inning. He puts in a guy that got called up from AA that day.
Devin Sweet.
Made his major league debut and comes in late in the game in a 1-run game. What kind of debut are you giving these kids? You're putting them, their heart is racing. Their nerves are through the roof. That's a situation we can only dream about. We've all dreamed about making your major league debut. And these young kids are getting this chance, but it's not in a game where, you have a 7-run lead or you're down by 7 and you get a chance to kind of soak it in. They are coming up from AA and getting put right into the shit, right into these high profile situations. And the Sweet during the Twins game ended up giving up like 2 or 3 runs and it put us out of the game. So that tells me 2 things. 1, it's a dick move to do to this rookie young kid who just got called up. And 2, by putting him into that situation, you were not expecting to win that game. You were not putting the best player in that situation to win that game. That tells me they were okay with losing that day. They were just like, fuck it. 1-run game. Oh, we probably won't score anyways, which fair. But but still, you put the best player for that situation. Let these guys get their debuts. They've earned it. But give them a chance in a less high stress situation.
Yeah, man. Devin Sweet got put into a tough spot there. We definitely should have put in a more experienced relief pitcher. Making your major league debut like that as the player, as Devin Sweet, you're like, yes, here we go. This is my time. And then, it didn't go the way he wanted, and it put the game out of reach for us. I think it was 4-3, and it ended up 7-3 or something
6-3.
like that. Yeah, like it kind of put the game out of reach late. And like you're saying, man, those high leverage situations, is being behind by 1 late in the game a high leverage situation? Because it doesn't seem like it. In the Mariners formula, if we're behind, we don't pitch a pitcher that we need to. We pitch a pitcher that's 1 step below where we need to be. We're kind of 1 step behind. I think we need to step our high leverage guys up into those situations where if we're behind by 1, we put in Munoz because he'll hold it at 1 run and we're expecting to score. It puts the pressure on our offense. It changes the vibe of the game. If we're behind, it's like we're expecting to lose. We totally threw the white towel, the white flag up there, definitely.
It's almost like Service has FOMO. He's scared to use people. He's like, oh God, what if I need them next inning? Oh God. Also, they started Brian Wu, his debut against Texas where he got shit on. It's just the best offense in the league at that point in time.
Right.
You're good luck, bro.
Have fun out there. You got this, kid.
At least they put Isaiah Campbell in a good spot to make his debut, and he did pretty well while he was up here.
And it happened again tonight. I can't remember the pitcher's name.
Prelander Baroa came in with 2 outs.
I'm glad you did that because I would have not been able to pronounce that. Way to nail that. Good job. Thank you. Baroa came in, 2 outs with a runner on third in the 8th inning. This is his major league debut, called up from Double-A. And it's like, what are you doing to these kids?
Against George Springer.
And yes,
It's like-
against George Springer. Like, what are you doing? It baffles me. And he bounced the ball off the plate, and it ended up being, 2-1 at that point?
I think we got Springer, and then the next batter, he ended up getting ahead in the count and bouncing a breaking ball off the plate over Tom Murphy's head with a runner on third. Like, we got the second out we needed, and then Baroa came in. I guess it must have been against Springer, and he got ahead in the count, bounced the ball off the plate,
Which
and
caused the run to score.
the run scored to go up by 2, and it was tough. Like, why put the kid in such a high leverage situation?
I will say also, I've been a little rocky on Fettuccine Alfredo Sosnado, but he pitched really well today. But again, why not use him in that situation? Why are you calling up this guy to make his major league debut with a runner on third base and George Springer at the plate? What are you doing? It's
So, like, they were trying to do the lefty-righty matchups,
Oh my
right?
God, I'm so fucking tired of
no,
hearing
it was good. It worked well. Gabe Spire came in, took care of the lefties, and then we had Baroa come in. I think we should have had Brash come in. If we're looking for the strikeout, if we're looking for, like, we can even have a base open. He can walk a guy and strike a guy out. And Brash is the guy I think we go to in that situation because of his experience, despite his shakiness at times. He's been pretty dang good lately. It hasn't been as volatile as he was earlier in the season. And I think Brash would have been the move there, and then even go to Baroa the next inning to have a clean inning to start and go to his major league debut late in the game, tie or like down 1 run, instead of having him go in that high pressure situation and overspin his curveball into the plate.
Matt, do these lefty-righty splits work for the majority of the leagues? I feel like it just doesn't work for us.
It's hitter to hitter. I mean, Gabe Spire has been super effective against lefties, and Saucedo comes in against lefties too. If you look at, I'll bring up their stats against lefties if you want. I think it's really effective. Those guys have been really good against lefties.
And I mean, the reason why those splits exist and managers use them is, there is a proven formula of certain handedness against certain handedness hitters tend to perform better in such situations. But it circles back to Service sometimes relying too much on just, you got to go with the left-handed here, instead of just trusting his gut, unless his gut is what's ever on the Excel spreadsheet in front of him.
I think he was trying to do that today against Alejandro Kirk when the Blue Jays pinch hit him. He wanted some kind of matchup, and then they pinch hit Kirk. And I think it worked out. I think they struck him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's gonna fail 100% of the time, but
I mean, at that game, it's at that point in the game, it's like a chess match. You're putting in a pitcher, and they have to face 3 batters, and you pinch hit your other guy because you think you have the advantage, and it's just a chess game. It goes back and forth a little bit, and it really depends on who's hitting. Like, some hitters have really good splits. Like, Yordan Alvarez hits lefties really well. Some guys just hit both hands really well. Some guys really see one side better than the other, and there are lefties that hit well against lefties. It just depends on the matchups and what kind of pitch types that you can get them out with. If it's lefty and you're throwing sliders the whole time, just like Munoz does to right-handers, it can be the same way to left-handers.
It just bothers me because he's relying on these numbers that are based on a pattern that can change on a single degree of arm tilt. It's does Castillo hang does he put a fastball down the middle, or does he put it on the corner? And it's like if he's hitting against or throwing against a right-hander, the split, his average is like 155, but then when he does a 1 degree of his arm tilt, it's a home run, and it's like, well, that didn't even fucking work. So why are you doing that?
I have a bit to say about Luis Castillo. Now that you bring that up, Luis Castillo is one of our best pitchers. Obviously, he's like the veteran ace of our staff. He's really good. He has great stuff. He has movement. All of his pitches have great movement. And I looked up his stats, and all of his movement has been the same this year versus last year. There's nothing in any of his pitches. His slider, his two-seamer, his four-seamer, his changeup, all of his pitches are moving the same amount. But I think this year it's all about location for him. When I look at his Savant page, I mean, he's just over a 3.0 ERA, and he's around 1 whip, and that's ace status. Like, if you're around a 3 and you have a 1 whip, awesome. But he's been giving up like so many home runs. He's given up more home runs this year than he has last year, or barrels. I don't know. Fuck.
His swing and miss is really high, but he just gets taken so deep.
Also, I wonder if part of the issue with that, because Castillo does give up a lot of home runs. And I'm wondering if the issue with that is at the beginning of the year, Castillo's walks were through the roof. He was walking a ton of guys. I mean, he was ending outings with 5 or more walks, which is insane for any normal pitcher, let alone a pitcher of Castillo's caliber. So I'm wondering, and now with the increase in home runs, is him now trying
to force it.
Yeah, trying to decrease his walk rate. So he's attacking the zone a little bit more, and then hitters are occasionally feasting on it.
And he has, I think you're right. At the beginning of the year, he did have a lot of strikeouts at that time, too. It's just that batters could lay off that effectively wild thing that he had going on. He just unleashed the pitch and let it move as much as possible and hope for the swing and miss. And it is insane. Like, his swing and miss is really, really good. His K rate's really good. But he has been attacking the zone a little bit. I think you're right, Patrick. He's overcorrecting a little bit. And all of his heat maps on Savant look too much in the zone, He has great swing and miss when he's ahead in the count, but when he's behind in the count, I think is when they really do the damage on him. And it is all about location. All of his movement is so good, man. And location, he's putting it too central, and batters will feast on that. Despite how much movement he has and how nasty it is, hitters are going to feast on a ball in the middle of the zone, and he will leave one in the middle of the zone. And that's the problem. He's been leaving it up a little bit. His ground ball rate is down a bit from his last couple years where he's been really effective, and the fly ball rate is up, which means, I think he's leaving it up in the zone too much.
He's also 16-16 since we acquired him, which... it's kind of bummy.
Yeah. But he gives us a chance to win games.
Yes.
How many of those games are his fault and not the bats, just not working?
Yeah, and win-loss can be such a finicky stat for pitchers, but still.
It looks bad on paper, but it's not all him. It's that the Mariners just
are Mariners.
They're
Mariners.
Mariners.
They're Mariners, Zane.
Oh, and you were like, they're getting the Felix treatment, dude. Yeah. They're giving him the Felix treatment. Like, Castillo has pitched well enough to win games. Like, 5 innings, 3 runs sucks a little bit because he's given up the home runs. It's the home runs that matter. And earlier in the season, I remember saying, like, he's just giving up that one extra damage hit. Like, it's just that one hit, and it seems like he's doing mediocre. His stats say he's doing really well, but it's just the big hits. The barrel rate is too high in big situations. It's like he's anti-clutch almost. I don't know what it is, but he's a great pitcher. The results show that he's a great pitcher, but there's too much damage being done for how good he is. I don't understand what's going on.
And think about it, like, imagine, just like even say 5 of those starts the Mariners manage to score 1 or 2 more runs. Then that 16-16 becomes 21-11, which on
Just
paper,
lights
again,
out,
looks
yeah.
so much better. And again, like I said, win-loss doesn't tell the whole stat or show the whole picture, but still it shows some of the picture. And yeah, he's great, but who knows? I mean, 21-11 looks incredible if you see that. You're like, oh, but I mean,
Yeah.
shit, Felix Hernandez won the Cy Young with a losing record. It goes to show, and it's Mariners offense, and like Owen said, Felix treatment, it happens, but
Yeah, I don't think he's bad. I think he just gives up 2 or 3, 4 runs, and then it's just like we literally cannot catch up because
Right.
we're fucking bad.
Yeah, it's definitely not bad at a 10.1 strikeout per 9.
amazing.
Like, he's 118 innings. He has 30 walks, 19 home runs.
That's a lot.
But 100
19
yeah,
home runs.
But
man.
133 strikeouts to 30 walks is really good. But 19 home runs? Are you kidding me? Last year for the Mariners, he gave up 6 home runs and 20. But he didn't pitch the whole year
Right.
for us, obviously. Let's see.
Is 19 home runs more than any of our batters have on the year?
Yes, it is.
In 2021, he gave up 19 home runs on the whole year. So, yeah, I mean, he's just given up way too many homers.
Castillo's leading the Mariners in home runs.
Don't put it that way, man.
But, I mean, he'll come around. Hopefully the Mariners eventually start coming around. We have a very important series going on right now against the Blue Jays. It's huge. This has a rematch of the wild card games last year. And the Mariners play the Blue Jays well. And today was an amazing, hard-fought game. It was very, very frustrating at times. But at the end, the Mariners pulled out and got the opening dub of the series. Let's hope for a series win, especially with the Detroit and Minnesota series coming out of the All-Star break being such dog shit. It wasn't. The Tigers series isn't even worth mentioning. The Twins series, we split. So we really need to take this series from the Blue Jays.
Yeah, we're back at 49 and 48. The Mariners have been painfully 500 for quite a while. Like, there's every time we're turning a corner, we get beat back a bit, and we're just still middling. We're still staying afloat. We're 4.5 games out of the third wild card spot where we stand. We're on a 2-game win streak. So since Kelenic broke his foot and is not in the lineup, we're winning so far. Let's see how that goes. We're going to revisit this Blue Jays series next week, and hopefully we take this series and move on in the right direction here. Even without Kelenic, maybe it changes the whole mood on the team. Maybe Cade Marlowe comes up and is the hottest thing we've ever seen in our life. Who knows?
Yeah, we look forward to talking to you guys next week, and hopefully we have nothing but positive things to say. As we close out this episode, I want to take a special, deep moment. Unfortunately, this will be Owen's last episode for at least some time. Our homie's moving. He is moving
To Portland.
Yeah, it sucks. I am really, really sad. I love you so much. We wish you the best in Portland.
I'll call in.
Just worse Seattle, but whatever.
Hey,
Or
at
white
least,
people.
at least we'll have an Oregon correspondent for our podcast. And
Portland pickles, baby.
We've had so much fun. We've been doing this for a little over a year now. We've done it all together. We've had Nate jump in and do some episodes with us from time to time, but this has been the core 4. We started this together, and we've had so much fun doing this, and it really sucks to have you go, man. I'm gonna miss you like crazy.
An OG.
I'll still be on Xbox.
I'll see you on
Playing
Xbox.
Power Washer Simulator.
I saw him playing that the other day.
I saw Owen
Okay.
playing Power Washer,
next?
and so I messaged him and I was like, "Power Washer, huh?"
Okay,
And he's
okay,
like,
here-
"Hey man, it's therapeutic." And I
Hear
gotta
me
tell
out.
you, hold on. I started playing it. It's pretty fucking
It's
good.
fucking dope, bro. Yo, they dropped a fucking SpongeBob DLC for $2. I out here cleaning the Krusty Krab, bro. It's fucking sick.
Miss you, Owen.
We're gonna miss you, man. We wish you the best in Oregon, and you ever just feel like taking a weekend trip and hopping on the pod, we'll try to pencil you in.
Oh, hell yeah. Celebrity
No,
guest.
you always have a spot in here. Whenever you want, you are always welcome to hop on the mic and talk Mariners with us.
Hell yeah.
And I mean, it's not like our group chat is going anywhere, so we'll be texting
you're-
all the time.
You're still in it, brother.
We would just make a new one without Owen.
We'll figure
I
out
know.
how to get you to call
I
in.
would never know.
Yeah, you still got to feed us topics and give your insight.
Yeah.
Drop me some sound bites. and
Yeah,
I'll
I'll
edit
send
them
some
in.
voice memos your way. Just give me a prompt and I'll go on like a minute.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
man.
we'll have
insert
the
it.
Owen segment.
That'd
That'd
be
be
actually kind
great.
of cool.
That would be cool.
I feel like that'd be a lot of work for you.
Our Oregon
do it.
correspondent, Owen.
Yeah, we're going international from the Pacific Northwest to also kind of the Pacific
How about
Northwest.
interstate? Interstate's good. Good enough. We're expanding.
Yeah, we're growing.
Thanks, Owen.
South of the border correspondent.
That's right. It's been a lovely time with you gentlemen.
It's been a lot of fun, man. It's not going to be the same without you. We're going to miss you like crazy.
Cheers.
And again, thank you all so much for listening. We love doing this, and we love doing it with Owen. You know what I mean. Thank you all so much. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Tell your friends. Let's talk baseball. Thank you all, and go Mariners!
Come on, Mariners. Be good. Please. Finally, please.
And goodbye, Owen.
Oh, whoa.
Hey, yeah.
Oh, whoa, I love baseball.
Damn, when I'm going to a Blazer game and you guys aren't going to any basketball game, I'll remember this.
You should wear your blazer to the Blazers. Blaze it.
420 blaze it.